Good evening, good evening, good evening, good night. Thank you so
Hello.
much. We are back.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Sister to Sister. It needed to be said. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us again for this most important conversation. I'm telling you, y'all do not want to miss this. Get in here, get in here, get in here.
First of all, we need to make sure the men are in
The
here.
men, yes. And second of all, we need to make sure that you click like, you click share, and that you subscribe to the my YouTube channel, She, Me, Her.
Exactly.
Now, first of all, before we go any further, I am Jamara Tara, She, Me, Her, co-host of this amazing podcast. And with me, I have, y'all know my partner in crime.
Keenan, I'm here. Grown-ass woman is in the house. Thank you, Jamara, for having me. And She, Me, Her is on YouTube. You must follow.
Absolutely.
And hey, come on, y'all. Let's get them shares up.
Yeah, and get in here. And tonight, make sure you all call in, ask your questions. We are very well prepared for that. Put your questions or in comments in the chat. We are very well prepared for that. Listen, tonight we have a very special guest in the house tonight. But first, wait, we got to thank our sponsor.
All right.
Flight Center. We love the Flight Center. Thank the Flight Center so much. And the CEO of the Flight Center, Christina Frederick, for always opening her doors to the Sister to Sister podcast, for housing us, giving us this space to do this amazing, much needed work. And we also want to thank our very dear good friend, our neighborhood Starbucks, who always supplies us with our snacks and our drinks. And this is our neighborhood Starbucks, Broward and 29th Street.
Oh, yeah.
29.
Every
The people's store is on Broward and 29. That's a gas station on Broward and 27.
Okay, y'all got it.
Broward and 29.
Well, really, it's the only urban Starbucks in Broward County.
The only urban Starbucks in Broward County. Again, there are 3 in Florida, 1 in Tampa, 1 in Miami, and 1 in Fort Lauderdale. Yes. And we want to thank them so much, really, because they are so kind to us. Shout out to Mahogany, who is the manager for that Starbucks on Broward and 29.
And her amazing staff.
Her amazing staff. Great young people working there.
Yes.
Love it. Cool. So now that that's out of the way, we don't pay the bills. Let's get into it. Listen, I'm telling you, I am so excited. I am so grateful to have this amazing brother sitting next to me, Mr. Delvin Rogers.
Welcome.
Delvin Rogers is the CEO of C.A.L.M, and tonight we are going to have a very much needed, transparent conversation about something that is plaguing not just our Black men, our Black boys, but our Black community. So we're going to go ahead and let Mr. Rogers introduce himself.
All right. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you guys for inviting me to your podcast. I'm excited. I will say I need the brothers. I need you guys to call in. I need you to listen. I need you to chime in because I have a lot of things to get off my chest, a lot of things to put out in the forefront. So, come forward to the congregation because we got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff to talk. Come to the front. Come to the front. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Get that word.
Okay.
Get that good word.
Right. So we are so happy to have you here tonight. And I thought that I follow. We're friends on social media.
Right. Yes.
And I follow a lot of the work that you do. I'm very grateful for a lot of the work that you do.
Thank you.
So your organization is called C.A.L.M. So what is that? What is C.A.L.M?
So C.A.L.M is Control Anger, Limit Madness. So basically how that came about, I did like a few classes targeted with anger management. So after I did that and got the certificate and things like that, and already being in the education field, I was like, okay, well, what can I do next? So already working with kids, I'm like, okay, well, I need to channel what's going on in the communities and things that I've already seen. Mm-hmm. So my next step was, getting an LLC and also coming up with a name that's just going to be catchy, mm-hmm. that targets, our young black males and also our young black females.
Mhm.
So it was maybe like a list of 5 names, and then it just hit me with C.A.L.M. But then I'm like, okay, well, you got the C.A.L.M, you know, so that can be an acronym for what? So it was just like I'm sitting there, you know, at the dinner table, and I'm like, okay, you know, Lord, tell me something, you know, let me come up with some type of name. And it was just like control anger, you know, but that LM, you know, it took a while. And then I'm like, okay, well, in order to control that anger, you know, you got to limit that, you know, and then madness just fell out of nowhere. So I threw it to several people. Hey, listen, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And they like, man, listen, that fits.
Let me ask you a question. Sorry to interrupt, but I want to know what made you focus on the anger?
Well, it was just
what happened that made you.
I think everything that I channeled back to in terms of, okay, being a school teacher and jobs that I've had in the past. So just working at the Juvenile Assessment Center, of course, working there, you see our young black males just coming in, you know, constantly. And then you get to see the same faces, you know, and they're angry and this, that, and the other. And, you know, I did case management. So it's like everything came full circle in terms of, you know, you need to do something about this or get involved, you know, and get into the community and see what you can do, you know, to kind of channel and give kids those keys that they need and those tools that they need to kind of combat the way that they're feeling, you know, because if you don't tackle it, you're just gonna, you know, continue to be angry.
Right.
You know, we want to see what's going on. Is there something at home? You know, is it mom, dad, uncle, what have you? Let's get in front of this.
Right.
So
we were talking earlier, Delvin, before we went live, we were, having conversations and just, dialoguing with each other. And when we talk about anger, right? And you said something, and I say this all the time, that we all have emotions, and emotions are not a bad thing. And you had said earlier when we were talking, you were like, anger is not a bad thing.
Right.
It's not a crime to get angry. It's not a crime to be angry. But the issue when it comes to anger is what? Well, the issue is just keeping everything balled up and, harboring that resentment and just keeping it inside. So, it's you want to find out and find out why you're angry, and then you want to find that safe place that, like we talked about earlier, but find someone who you can confide in, that you can, vent and get what you're feeling, get it out, because otherwise, you're just leaving it inside. And then now you're taking that out on everybody that's around you, and then that becomes a problem, and nobody wants to be around you because you're that angry person or that angry black boy or angry black girl. And my thing is, you don't want that stigma, you don't want that to follow you, you want to be productive. You want people to see you in a different way. You don't want them to see you coming a mile away and then just, there he goes. There's that angry black boy or girl. So you want to get that out of you.
Right. So I know that from observing families that a lot of times the underlying issue is within the homes. And I know that one of the things that I see is a lot of younger children in the homes are given roles as adults, and they have to mask what they feel without even know what emotions are or what their feelings are. So it leads them into that anger growing inside of them of resentment.
Right.
I was wondering if he was going to say that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when we experience youth today, I know everybody like to say, oh, these youth today are off the chain. Nobody never thinks about what got them to that point. We talk about the home environment, but we don't talk about the mother that told that son, you better man up. You better suck up those tears. You know what I'm saying? That whole thing. And here you got this little boy that now he's in an environment, school, football field, wherever, and all that bogged up energy, guess where it's coming out at? In your classroom.
Right.
Yeah. And just to add to, I want to, really get more into that and delve more into that. Before we get there, I want to go back to something that you said when you start talking about stigma. And you said that, we don't want it to be a stigma. Well, it's already a stigma. Right. The stigma is already there. So I'm going to ask a loaded question right now. And so the question I'm going to ask right now to you,
Okay.
because you're a Black man,
Okay.
right? Why are Black men and Black boys so angry?
I just think just different things that they experience, again, to piggyback off of what you said, just things that they're faced with, that they can't handle. And it just begins to, boil up to the point where they can't handle it. So it's going into, adulthood. If you're a young Black male and you've been given so much responsibility, or you want to feel a certain way, or you want to be vulnerable and get your emotions out, but that looks weak to, let's say, for instance, a single mom. She wants you to man up and do it this way or that way, so you're taking that. Now you're a teenager, now you're an adult, and you've taken all of that with you. So now you're an adult with so much anger and pent up frustration, to the point where this has become your character. This is you. But as a child, there's nobody there to let them know, hey, listen, you can express how you're feeling right now. You can get it all out. Then we can kind of go into perhaps when you do it next time, this is a way that you can do it, and we can practice that, and we could, we can, it can continue to where you practice it and process and what you're feeling, and then as you get older, you know how to deal with things. But for our Black men, we're angry based off of things that have happened to us, and we didn't allow it to, we didn't allow ourselves to process, what we felt, and we didn't get it out.
So, okay. All right. First of all, let's not focus on single Black moms, right?
Of course. Yeah.
Right? Because we have Black fathers who do just as much damage
to our boys
as far as what they think masculinity looks like. Right? And so when you just talked about, okay, well, these things happen because they don't have a place to vent and do this and do that. I've learned a long time ago that if you don't deal with your childhood traumas, your adult relationships will.
Right.
Exactly.
Right? Now, when we're talking about children not having a place to express themselves, we cannot ignore the generational aspect of that.
Right.
That comes with that. Where you said, okay, well, you can express yourself. Black people do not typically allow their children, their Black children, to express themselves, to have a voice, because it is considered to be disrespectful. Right. Children are to be seen and not heard.
Right.
So I'm just going to be transparent. I was a single mom I have a son who's an adult now. And I had to learn. I wish I had learned it sooner, but I learned it later than sooner. But I really had to learn a new way of having a conversation with my child.
Well, I'm still learning. Go ahead. No, for real. I had to
learn how to, because I was a single mom, so I did not want to be put a pushover. Right?
Gotcha.
So there were certain situations that I handled that I could have handled differently, that I wish I would have handled differently. So we as parents, children learn what they live, and then they grow up and they live out what they learn until you teach them something different.
Exactly. Did y'all hear that? Wait, one more time. Let them hear.
Children live what they learn. And then they will grow up and then they live out what they've learned until you teach them something. They learn what they live. Then they live what they've learned, and then they grow up. And then if you don't teach them anything different, they continue to live what they've learned. And if you don't address your childhood traumas, your childhood issues, your adult relationships will, which is why we have so many Black men out here in these domestic violence relationships.
Yes.
Because.
And women.
Yeah, because we are taught, you're right, women too, because we are taught that you hold it in.
Mhm.
You hold it in, and so it's like a soda.
Shake the can.
You shake the can,
Right.
and you
Right.
keep shaking
Shaking
it,
it, yeah.
and you
Yeah.
keep shaking it,
Yeah.
and you keep shaking it, and you keep
you
shaking
pop
it,
that
and you
top.
pop that top,
Yeah.
and then you got a big
mess.
mess.
Big mess.
And I think, Delvin, for us as the Black community, and I'm not saying white people do it too, but I'm not white, so I can't speak for white people
Okay.
because I'm not white.
Right.
White people
Go through.
go through just as much, not more.
If not more.
Yeah, if not more. But I'm speaking from my experience in this country, which is a Black woman. When we're talking about our children being able to express themselves, their feelings and their hurts and their anger and their shame, it is our responsibility to create a safe space for them to do that. If people can't trust you with their trauma, they won't.
Mhm.
So we have to create a safe space for a child to be able to express. So if something respectfully,
Right.
in a respectful manner, right? Because if what's going to continue to happen if we don't is we're going to continue to have havoc in the school. We're going to continue to have
in our community.
The Broward Regional Juvenile Detention Center is going to continue to be packed with our kids that look like us, right?
Mhm.
Our kids are going to continue to walk up on 11 and 12-year-olds at the bus stop and shoot them because they won't give them their phone, right? Our kids are going to continue to break in people's homes while they're steal their cars, take the police on high-speed chases, and then end up killing killing and injuring people, right? If we, as the adults in their lives, the adults in their homes, do not create a safe space for them to be able to express themselves.
Jamara, one of the issues that I think is being dismissed in this conversation is before they can get that safe space in their homes, before they can get what they need, we have to go back and give their parents what they need. Because a lot of times this whole issue, you can't teach that child or understand that child if you're dealing with your own trauma. So 9 times out of 10, the parent, I had to say something to someone this week, and I'll share with you all. Just because you are considered a parent from giving birth does not mean that you know parenting. You know, so a lot of us think because we have the children that the title of a parent, we know what to do. But what parenting is not a cookie cutter type of skill set. It's a learned skill set for your individual child. But in our community, it's only one cookie cutter description of what the children are. So when you see that dad hit the little boy in the chest and man up, I don't like it. Man up. Or the mom or someone in the family saying, oh, suck up them tears because you acting real soft right now. We got to get it together and address our own traumas so that we can be the example and be able to receive these children.
And I said that earlier when we were talking, when I was like, you have broken adults out here raising
the big time
children,
big
right?
time.
And a lot of and you're so correct, Angine, when you're talking about how because the parents they're living out what they've learned, right? And
so where's the safe space?
Well, the safe space can be the community. The safe space can be the teacher. The safe space is Delvin.
Be calm.
The safe space is Delvin.
The
safe space is a group with Delvin, and a group of young people sitting in a space with Delvin, and he's explaining to them, what you're feeling is okay. What you're feeling is not wrong. Now let me teach you how to unpack that. Let me teach you how to walk through that. Let me teach you how to address that without shame. Right? So that's what a safe space is. Okay, so we're going to address questions in a few minutes. And just going back to what you were talking about, let me just say this before we go to questions. I just had, was it yesterday? I think I had to call in an abuse report yesterday on somebody. I don't mind. And this is my issue. And I'm going to say this, and I don't care who doesn't like it. Y'all know that. Just because you suffered and survived doesn't mean your child has to.
Exactly.
Just because you suffered and survived doesn't mean your child has to. Okay? So cut the crap, okay? Beloved, get you some help. Get you some help. I think we have some questions. We're gonna go ahead and let's see here. Let's go to our questions. Okay. So first question, and this is going, I'm gonna ask you this, Delvin.
Okay.
Do you think that Black children utilize anger in order for their voice to be heard?
Wow, that's a good question. I think a lot of times they do, because they're just trying to get out everything that they're feeling. So they, that tone, the way they're feeling, they just want to be expressive. But a lot of times it's coming out in the wrong way because there was nobody to sit them down and listen to how they were feeling in the first place. So they're going to only do it the way that they know how to do it. So they're going to express it the way that they know how. Nobody has sat down with them to teach you, okay, hey, listen, this is how you approach this situation. No, they haven't been taught. So they're just going to express it how they feel.
My answer to that question is yes, because I took a training in trauma a few years ago, and the instructor said, his name is Graham Petrovich. You know Graham, that's my good buddy. And Graham said something. He said, when people cannot get their needs met with their words, they use their behavior. They use their behavior. When they cannot get their needs met with their words, they use their behavior. And a lot of times is what we're seeing a lot of times, especially with our young Black boys and girls, is that they have been trying to tell somebody. They have been trying to tell somebody what is happening, what they're feeling, what is going on, and nobody is either listening, cares, or pretending that they don't hear them. And so then I have to use my behavior now.
Right.
Because my words are not working. Right? Everybody ain't crazy. Okay? Everybody ain't crazy. A lot of times what y'all seeing is a manifestation of trauma.
Yes.
Everybody's not crazy. A lot of what you're seeing is a manifestation of trauma. And if we would just stop and listen and receive without being offended.
Exactly.
Without being offended, right? I think that would be a start to allowing our children to understand what safe spaces look like.
Right.
But it is on us. It is on us because, we are so busy telling children how strong they are. They're kids. They don't need to be strong. They need to be safe. They don't need to be strong. They need to be safe. And if you're not creating a safe space for them, if you're not listening to their voice when they're trying to tell you what's happening, what's going on, then they're going to start to use their behavior. And then their behavior is now going to make you think negatively of them.
Right.
It's going to, you're going to label them, and then you're going to medicate them.
Right. And now it's all over.
Medicate them. Then it's all over with.
It's all over.
It's all over with.
So I want to ask him something.
Okay.
I read that how do you deal with anger issues? I read that some ways that, in home, persons who's dealing with a child or a male that's anger, it says to stay calm, try to listen to them, give them space if needed. Okay. It also says to set boundaries, help them identify the trigger.
Right.
And support them to seek professional help. Now, professional help is not always a therapist. Professional help is trying to get someone else that knows how to also listen to them.
Right.
So that's how I took that. And it says, look after your own well-being. Because a lot of times in the midst of that anger, we try to interject ourselves as we can straighten that anger out, which puts yourself in harm's way.
Right.
So I saw this and I said, I got to bring this up to you.
Right. I mean, and all of the above, because the thing is, you want to kind of give yourself a safe space as well. Because I mean, if you eventually see that I'm not getting through to, my son or daughter, then now you're finding yourself angry.
Right.
So you want to kind of, do bits and pieces of what you think may work, but also it's not wrong to give them a little space to get themselves together.
Right.
But first and foremost, the most important thing from what was said was, you want to definitely listen.
Yeah.
You want to listen, because all they want to do is get out what they're feeling. That's it.
Right.
They don't want to be judged or chastised. Why are you moping around here? And it may be a reason, but you want to listen. I'm opening up for you to talk to me. Let's talk. If they say, okay, well, I'm not ready to talk right now, give them a little space.
No,
what
you mean you ain't ready to talk right now?
Right, that's the thing. Now it's all over. It's It's done.
Yeah.
Forget about it, because
Yeah.
you may not talk to them for another week and a half. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's a process. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's a process, but look at it this way: they're at least talking to you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Say
They're
that
at
again.
least-
Say that again.
They're at least talking to you. You know what I mean? So it's not like you're getting the cold shoulder and they're not saying a word to you. They're at least saying something. I'm not ready to talk, or I don't want to talk right now.
Right.
Give them a little space, but every day, get a little closer, see where you are, and the next day may be a little different.
Right.
They may give you a little bit, and be respectful of that. You know what I mean? They're not going to give it all to you at once, but every day, peel away at that onion. They give you a little bit, you respect that, and then you interject and give your little, what you should do or how you feel, and go from there.
You know what I just heard? I heard one word, and all of that, what you were saying, I heard one word: consistency.
Yeah.
Consistency.
Yeah, you can't be to where, okay, well, I'm gonna slam my door because my daughter or son don't want to talk to me, and what you can't approach it that way, because they're still around, they're receiving what you're giving.
Exactly.
So, that makes them, go back into a shell.
Right.
Okay, well, she's slamming doors or he's slamming doors. I don't want to talk.
Right.
Or, well, they're really angry, so I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't,
Fear.
speak up of how I feel. I'm in fear. Because that door slam was really scary.
Yeah.
So I don't know where their head is at. So it's a process. It's a process.
And a lot of times when you're seeing yourself in your child, that's a hard mirror to look into.
Woo-hoo. Now that's truth there. Now I'm gonna shift this for a minute. I'm gonna go into the love life. Okay, I'm gonna go into the love life, and one of the questions that was asked was, how do you love an angry man, right? And so I was like,
who asked you that?
and I found some tips.
You
And
got some tips on how to love an angry
It
man?
say, understand that an irritable and angry man is often hungry for love.
Okay.
Okay. So that love could be that trigger, that missing component that they never had. And learning to love yourself can eliminate some of these things. So when we meet these men, we got to make sure they know and understand what love is, to the definition of what you're looking for, because sometimes it be unmet. But recognize that you are not to blame for your partner's anger. Now, I've noticed dealing with domestic violence and stuff like that, a lot of women take ownership,
of course,
of that anger that man is going through.
Well, a lot of times the man tells them it's their fault. That's why. But that again, that is, that's a narcissistic trait, first of all.
Yes.
People try to make you responsible for their behavior.
Yes.
Right? But you saying that, I don't know if you guys are familiar with, you guys know who Nikki Giovanni is, right?
Yeah.
And you guys know who James Baldwin is, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so two of my favorite author and authoress. So I'm such a nerd. And Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin had a conversation with each other.
Okay.
In 1972, 73, right? She had, he lived most of his life in Europe because he just couldn't deal with America, right?
US.
And so Nikki Giovanni traveled to Europe to have this conversation with James Baldwin, and they had a 2-hour conversation. If you guys ever get a chance, please go to YouTube and look up the conversation with Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin. I promise you, it will bless your entire life. Okay? There was a piece of that conversation where Nikki Giovanni said this to James Baldwin, and it blew his mind. And she said to him, I need you to lie to me. And he was like, what do you mean, what? Lie to you? She was like, I need you to lie to me. He was like, no, but baby, I can't lie to you. She was like, no, you must. You must. And he was like, well, she said, because you go out there every day and you lie to them crackers. Ooh, you lie to them crackers all day.
Okay.
You laugh and you grin in their face all day. You smile at them all day, and then you come home and I get the worst of you. I get the worst of you. Why? Because I love you. So you come home and you're honest with me with your anger and with your hurt because I love you. Lie to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
I get it.
Lie to me sometimes, right?
Wow.
So if you guys have never, go watch that conversation. It's amazing. And it's like, a lot of times you are, and I'm not, picking on men. I'm not picking on anybody. But what I'm saying is a lot of times, both men and women, black men and women, because you got a lot of black women out here that don't have no sense.
Right.
Okay? None.
They're dealing with their mental.
None. You know what I'm saying? And you have black men out here, same position, and then when they get together,
Yeah. Toxic.
Immediate.
Toxic.
They get together, it's dangerous.
Toxic.
It's dangerous. But when you have one person that are at capacity, and then you have a person that is carrying childhood trauma into their adulthood, you understand what I'm saying? And you have a one of those people saying, I need you to lie to me, like you out there lying to them.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Got it.
And that's what they're saying is that you're angry, but you're only being honest with your anger with me, but you're being honest in a negative way.
Right.
So if we're going to be honest with the anger, let's be honest with everybody with the anger.
Yes.
Right.
Right? And so I think that when people can be honest about their anger, that's when the healing takes place.
Right.
Yes.
When you can be honest with everybody.
Right.
When I'm upset with a person, I don't care who you are, what you look like, what your position is, where you work, where you're from. You're going to know that I'm upset, that I'm angry with you. Because I don't bleed on people who didn't cut me. And our children, our black boys, our black men are out here bleeding on people who did not cut them.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what they're doing. So what needs to happen? Safe space, honesty, transparency. Stop making excuses for stupid stuff.
I got one for you.
What?
Be willing to see the fear under the hurt. So talking to the males, they got to be willing to make themselves vulnerable.
Oh no, that's vulnerable. You can't use that word.
Oh, come on.
You got to use another word. Honest. Say honest. Don't say vulnerable.
Because we just heard about.
If the word vulnerable is being used automatically, that's soft. That's soft automatically. Because I mean,
you can keep it real because we're talking to our culture.
Right. What I'm saying is, for our young black men, even adults, our black men using the word vulnerable, and most of them don't know what that means. But it just sounds soft. Like I gotta I'm not vulnerable. You know, I'm not soft. That sounds cushy. You know
but
what I mean?
See, you know why though, Delvin? Because they have an incorrect definition of the word.
Yes.
Right.
When people don't have a correct definition of a word, they interpret it wrong. And they respond to it
Incorrectly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Our producer back here said he want to talk because this is a good conversation.
I mean,
this is
if you don't let it out, if you don't allow yourself to be vulnerable, you know, get your. I mean, it's okay.
You can't say that word to a brother though, right?
You can't say that.
Even as an adult.
As an adult, if that black man has
Dana in the back saying, Dana, our producer in the back, our producer, he said,
you can't.
No, you can't.
You can't.
Okay, I'm curious.
I mean,
can we get some men to call in? Can we get some men to call in?
I need y'all to come to the front.
954-958-0587. 954-892-0587. The number should be flashing across the screen. Please, can we get some brothers to call in? Because we really want to know what you guys think about this. Like, so using the word, I mean, going to a brother and say, okay, you can be vulnerable. Like, and listen, Delvin, I get it, because I believe you, because I'm not a brother.
No. What I'm saying is, I mean, if you said it to me, okay, I'll be expressive. I'll tell you how I'm feeling.
Because
stuff
you know
like that.
I know the definition.
I get it. You know what I mean? I get it.
So let's help these brothers. First of all, let's educate them, because I really believe that before you can make a change, you got to be.
But you obviously were under the impression that you could say that word to a brother and they
I mean, I feel like everybody should know. So
do a survey. It's gonna be lopsided. It's gonna be lopsided. You may get a few guys who don't mind expressing themselves, but you know, for the rest of the percent, they like
the ones that
let me say this. I have a question for us as Black women, Black males. Why does vulnerable or being vulnerable stigmatize us to say that someone is gay?
It's the word.
But we, as our culture, when we say being vulnerable or, we try to be vulnerable in a sense, we get labeled.
Because people misuse words.
So, definition. Let's educate them. What is vulnerability? What is vulnerable?
I mean,
well, I mean, but when you look at the word vulnerable, I mean, it could mean several things depending upon what it is you're describing, right?
Okay.
So if you're talking about a vulnerability in certain aspects, you could be talking about a risk factor, okay, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're talking about vulnerability in another aspect, you can be talking simply about being honest and transparent.
Right.
So it depends, but it depends on what context you're using the word, right?
Which is
but when you've only experienced the word vulnerability being used in a negative context,
right?
And that negative context means you soft, you're a punk, you whatever.
Yes.
Can't nobody come up to you as a brother and say, hey, come on, man,
it's
be vulnerable
right.
with me.
Yeah, it's all right.
Like, hey, okay, come on.
I mean, you know.
Am I right or am I wrong?
You're right.
You're
right.
I
I mean,
you're 100%.
And that's and you broke it down in terms of that's the definitions right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I have the question though posed: is vulnerability frowned upon in men? Now, as men, we know clearly Delvin expressed what that is, but to ladies, our whole goal as men is to show women that we're strong,
right?
That we're leaders,
right?
You know,
right.
We're protectors.
Okay, I see where you're going.
So to be vulnerable is not necessarily easy to someone you're either courting or not yet married to until you're locked into situations that you have to address as a husband or wife. Mm-hmm. So for the women, is vulnerability frowned upon? You yourself, you're getting ready to go that route. Exactly. Shameless plug. So let me ask you, if your other was vulnerable or exhibited those signs prior to
Yeah.
how would you view that man as a leader and future partner for you?
I would love that because he is so not that. You know, because this is my thing. But you can't really go by me because I understand the meaning of the word. I understand the context of the word. You understand what I'm saying? So if for him to be vulnerable wouldn't bother me at all because I understand what vulnerability means.
Right. I get it.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Right.
So for me, for him to be vulnerable with me doesn't mean I'm going to think lesser of him or perceive him as weak because I understand what vulnerability actually means.
Right.
I understand what it is.
Right.
Right.
And how to interpret
It is something to be embraced.
Right.
Right. Not something to be ridiculed.
Right.
But when you have been taught, listen, when people don't have the proper definition of words, they respond to the inappropriate definition that they have. Right. So you have a question. We have a question.
We have a statement.
We have a statement.
Which is now pegged on the screen. Go ahead. So
I have a woman, a female here who says her husband said, and she put this in quote, an exclamation. This woman says, my husband says the word vulnerability is against the man code.
Okay.
But that's what Delvin been trying to tell you, Angie. You haven't been listening to him.
Okay, so
that's what Delvin has been trying to tell you.
I think coming from an aspect of also being a married man, so I don't see it as code, but again, just how you touched on the point of you knowing the definition. So and I'm not trying to throw shots at the brother's wife or what have you, but if he only knew that she knows the full definition of what vulnerability is, he'd be able to open up with no problem to be able to express how he's feeling without him thinking she gonna think I'm a punk.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you can do that. Once you know that, you can do that, and it rolls off your back because you're just that comfortable with each other.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that's it. That's the only
high five right there.
I mean, that's the only way of looking at it. And that's just coming from from being a married man. But once you know your partner knows exactly what it is, you're comfortable now.
Yes.
But you know what? I don't think that let's look at it from another context. Let's not look at it as in a relationship with a husband and a wife. Let's talk about homeboys. Let's talk about the bros. Let's talk about the brothers hanging out.
Okay.
Now you can't come now. Let's come on. Now, you just gave an example. Now, there's an understanding. Woman and man, husband and wife. Okay, great. Right? I would love it if my dude was, vulnerable, whatever. It is what it is. But I know what kind of, my man, like, and there is like no way, like, and we have conversations and I'm like, and when we're talking, he was like, y'all talk about that. And talk about me and my friends. He's like, y'all talk about stuff like that. I'm like, y'all don't, your friends don't talk about stuff like that. Yeah, hell no. You know what I'm saying? Hell no, we don't talk about stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So when we're looking at it from the context when you're talking about the brothers, right? The men hang, they hanging, they chilling, right?
Right.
You, Delvin, you are not gonna have no group of brothers in a circle at the sports bar or hanging out or whatever it is, whatever. Sitting around saying, yeah, bro, dog, yeah, come on, y'all, let's be vulnerable.
Nah, I mean, you're not gonna get that.
No.
I mean, you're not gonna get that. No, but I think for me and hopefully my good friends, they watching and listening. But it's 30 years into that. It's only two guys. You know what I mean? We've known each other third grade, high school, and beyond to this day. So it's not where we're at a sports bar, hey dog, you know what I mean? Like I'm feeling this way or what. But at times we know we can confide in each other if we're going through something because we got history.
Okay, so it looks different.
It's
It
different.
looks different.
But at the same time, you know what I mean? That took time to get there because it's like at first, you know what I mean? You're not gonna, like, dog, man, we've been friends for X amount of years. I love you, man. but you look at it, it catch you off guard at
Right.
first, because it's like, where's this coming from, man? I know we cool, but over time, you know what I
Right.
mean? But okay, at time invested, you can confide in them, you can say how you're feeling or what what you're going through at home and this, that, and other, and you could be vulnerable, you know what I mean? But it's a time and place, but you got to welcome that, you know what I mean? Not everybody is going to be warm like that. Not everybody.
So what I'm hearing is you can do it, just don't say the word. Don't just say that's what you're doing, but be it. You can
you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to my boy Charles or Mike house to be vulnerable. You're not gonna do that, but we going to kick it. You know what I mean? A few brews or a nightcap. You know what I mean? And we gonna politic. But
even when you're vulnerable or you're being vulnerable with your boys, it don't sound like you're being vulnerable. It sounds more like, yeah, man,
Y'all
it's
just talking.
crazy, bro. I'm
it don't sound like that.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not. You're not crying your heart out in a way where it shows, but
you're not literally crying your heart out, but you're crying your heart out.
Yeah, you're crying your heart out through, verbally, but you're not shedding any tears or strong hugs or whatever. Hey, man, but
So, how can we teach our young boys, our young Black boys? How can we teach them to be honest with what they're feeling and cry their hearts out without feeling ashamed or weak?
I think that builds over time. So it's, let's say, for instance, if I'm working with a group or one-on-one, what I do is, I kind of do an icebreaker. So I ask that young man or young lady, when you're angry, what is the first thing that you do? So what I allow them to do is get it out. I don't care how you word it. I don't care how you write it down, how you verbally speak it to me, get it out. So, even if they slip up and say a curse word or whatever the case is, but you getting it out, you know what I mean? Because I'm allowing them the floor. I'm giving them the floor to speak on whatever it is that they're feeling at that particular time. Then, then they feel somewhat comfortable, but we're going to keep driving at it. I want you to get it off your chest, get it off, because there's so much built in here. So much. It's, first of all, it may be home life. They're getting chastised to death at home for whatever reason it is, for whatever. And it may be the littlest thing. You didn't make your bed. You didn't sweep. You didn't take the garbage out. Kids forget. Kids forget. But you're not forgiving them on forgetting that small thing. So it's something that you might have gone through, and it's your learned behavior. So now you're pouring it on to that particular young boy or young girl or whatever. And it's so much built in, and they don't know how to get it out. They want to, but then when they do get it out, they're taking it out on that teacher. They're fighting their peers, this, that, and other, but it's no one there to sit back and just listen to them and let them get out what they're feeling. And then once they do that, they start confiding in you. I'm dealing with this at home, or Mr. Rogers, I have this going on, or I don't want to play football, but they pushing me to play football, or I want to do this. All that stuff is all that right here, and it's nobody there, but programs are available. C.A.L.M, by the way, is available for that ear, you know what I mean, for kids to just come in. I don't want to tell you anything of what to do. I want to sit back and I want to listen.
So tell us, what services are you offering at C.A.L.M? Like, what are you doing? Groups? Are you doing individuals? How can people get in touch with you if they want you to facilitate groups for their community, for their churches, for their youth groups? How do they go about getting in touch with you so they can bring you in, so you can start having these discussions with their young people?
Gotcha. So C.A.L.M goes over important target areas. So self-control is one. Because when you don't have that self-control, you're spiraling out of control. You're doing several different things that you shouldn't be doing, which is going to be followed by a consequence. So I try and drive, the most important target areas that they need, self-control, emotional intelligence, knowing exactly what you're feeling and knowing how to process that, coping skills, managing your anger, so all of those, are in the same, family, because, if you don't have that self-control, you're not going to know how to cope with what it is that you're feeling. Impulsivity, every action doesn't, require you to react a certain way. So you don't have to act on impulse. Any little thing that someone does, you don't have to act on impulse. And that's the problem with our young Black males now, and social media. Let's just keep it real with things that we see on the news or things that we read on our news feeds or what have you. This teenager shot this teenager, social media related and things like that. You may not even know this person, but you're reacting and you're impulsive and you're acting on impulse based on something that was said. You could walk away from that. So I try and, C.A.L.M goes over those key target areas. And you could find me on Facebook under Delvin Rogers. I'm also on Instagram, C.A.L.M 247, and then that's acronym form. So it's C.A.L.M 247. You can also find me on Google search engine. Again, C.A.L.M 247 LLC. Also email rogers.delvin@yahoo.com. You could shoot me an email. You could request me on Instagram. Shoot me a message on Facebook. I respond to all of it because I think, this type of program is needed. Our young Black males, and not excluding, our young Black females as well. I think they just need to know this key piece of information now while they're young, so it won't, follow them into adulthood. And then at that point, it may be a bit too late.
Right.
So we want to
I
challenge
do
it now.
have a question for you. Is C.A.L.M for all ages?
C.A.L.M is I start at 10.
Oh, okay.
I just think, right then they on that cusp, of teenage years, but at 10, from being in the school system, I'm seeing that, 10-year-old have that aggression.
That's the average age you're seeing.
Yes, and have so much aggression, and you're like, you're 10. Why?
Why are you so mad?
What are you so? And you try and go back to where, okay, you're 10, no bills, no real responsibility whatsoever. You got to wake up. Maybe,
but you got trauma in the house.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
You got trauma in the
and the
house.
thing is, I mean, 10, you're seeing a lot. You may be the man of the house. You know what I mean?
At
You
10.
may have super responsibilities on your back that you don't know nothing about.
Yeah.
And it's like you're trying to carry that. You don't even understand what's going on.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And it may be a situation to where you get to school, you see your friends, in this type of capacity, clothes, shoes, well-fed or haircuts, this, that, and other. So all of that, you absorbing.
Image.
You absorbing that, and understandably, you want that same thing. You want those Jordans or this or that or that well-cooked meal, or who's this coming in the house, or why mama or daddy talking to me this way. So it's 10. I've seen it to where it's very, a lot of aggression. So I target 10 through 18.
Okay. All right. Good.
I got one more question. I'm
Sure.
sorry. Does it involve mentorship?
Yes.
Okay. And if we were to have someone or persons that we would like to refer, just as community persons, because we run into a lot of young adults. Are you in one area or you're all?
Oh, I go everywhere.
Okay.
So Dade, Broward, Palm Beach County, wherever I'm needed. If I get a call or I get a text or I get, a message through Messenger.
You're not free, are you?
No.
That's right.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Now, I'll
No, wait a minute. Jamar said that like she was your mama. You're not free.
No, and I'm not. But now the thing is, like, if I get a call, and they want me to work with a group, I may do that, for free just to get C.A.L.M's name out there. After that, the prices went up.
The price is the price too, right?
Yeah.
The price is the price.
Oh, it's the price, and there's no negotiations at all. But I do try and do a few things. If I'm good friends with someone and they have a a program going and stuff like that, and they reach out, hey, this would be good for you to put your name out there, and I do it.
Market.
But after that, I started getting calls and things like that. I know that person. I don't know you, so now the price is up. But this is all about the kids and trying to get them to understand, the importance of managing your anger,
Right.
point blank. Because again,
mismanaged anger can cost you your life.
Oh yes,
and
course.
Somebody else's.
Of course, and just and again, like we were talking earlier about things that that we saw on the news and coaches and people that don't know how to manage that anger, and the first thing they do, pick up a gun. That's not the way to solve things. If it gets that serious, just get in your car and go.
Yeah. So we have a statement I want to read, and I agree with this statement. So when we're talking about vulnerabilities, this person says, let's be honest, you can't be vulnerable with everyone. There are people who will make you feel like you can trust them with your vulnerability, but then weaponize it.
Yes.
Okay. I agree.
I absolutely 100,000%.
I agree
with that.
I agree.
That is absolutely true. So we have about 5 minutes before we go, and before we go, I'm gonna, we each say some last statements, and then I'll read the nugget. But my statement is gonna be this before we get ready to head out. We talked a lot about a lot tonight, and one of the things I do want to hone in on is that I truly believe, first of all, every person born into this universe is born expecting the person that they're born to provide them with food, clothing, shelter, safety, and love. 5 basic needs, right? And if you're missing one of those, you're vulnerable. If you're missing one, right? And so I think that when we start talking about anger and mismanage emotions and and trauma and things like this, because trauma produces anger. And when we start talking about people having children and not parenting them, and then they begin to criticize what they created. You criticize what you've created, right? And so I think we really, really, really need to be mindful of that. Stop criticizing what you create.
That's big.
So, my last statement would be, kids don't know what they don't know,
right? And
if there are programs out here, to help them with those important tools, I strongly believe, these community programs, commissioners, parks and recreation, I post enough things and follow enough people to where, just shoot me a message, shoot me a text, because the resources are here. Don't shy away from it to do other things when kids are crying out, for help, and it's available, so that's my biggest thing.
Well, mine for tonight will be covering up your feelings with displaced anger is a defense mechanism to protect deeper vulnerabilities. Seek help. It's a lot of organizations and places that can help not only your child, but even you.
So the nugget for tonight before we leave is going to be a poem by Rick Adriolo. Guys know we always do a nugget before we end the evening. So the poem says 10:9. Inside I feel a silent roar that builds up more and more. In my heart I contain this urge that is trying to emerge. I feel it swell up in me, inside of me. I'm trying to scream it away silently. You keep talking and talking, and I just want you to shut up. 8:7. Slowly it begins to shiver and shake. These hands that begin to ache. Sweat and blood from these fists clench so hard they are hard to be missed. Sick of this anger in me, inside of me, trying to get out so violently. But you keep talking and talking, and I just want you to shut up. 6:5. Biting my teeth so hard, holding back my tears. Any harder will make my teeth split apart. My throat feels like I'm going to choke because I don't want to show these feelings you evoke. My eyes are betraying me inside of me. My eyes become watery. You keep talking and talking, and I just want you to shut up. 4:3. My blood is boiling and sizzling. It just works sickening. Control of this pressure is hardly kept, and it's not something to neglect. It's digesting me inside of me. I could stop if I had a moment of privacy. You keep talking and talking, and I just want you to shut up. 2-1. My thoughts are distorted and my mind is unclear. All common sense seems to disappear. I lost all sense of good fortune and faith. I'm lost in something controlled by hate. It's breaking me inside me. It makes me feel so terrible. But you keep talking and talking, and I just want you to shut up. 0. My mouth breaks open and I ignite. I throw my hate at you with all my might. I scream with body and soul. I try, but now it's too late for damage control. I'm destroying you, breaking you for the things that you put me through. Now you're silent, and I finally made you shut up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us tonight for another episode of Sister to Sister. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much, Delvin, for joining us.
you.
And everybody, be calm, be calm, be calm. Good night, everybody.
Good night.